At the end of the day, we want to make sure that people can pay their bills. People work hard, they raise their families, they need to be able to have a place that they can afford, and that includes energy costs that are affordable.
Well, that was Governor Tina Kotek at a news conference back in August, where she celebrated several bills she signed into law related to energy and your power bills. One of them is the so-called Power Act. It requires utilities like PGE to create a separate rate class for things like data centers, which eat up a lot of energy. Okay, the idea of the law is that companies who want to run data centers in Oregon pay for their fair share of power use and the infrastructure needed to supply it, things like new transmission lines. And in essence, shield residential customers like you and me, as well as small businesses, from having to help pay for those things, which sounds great. But will it actually work that way? There's new reporting this week that suggests maybe not, and we think it's worth your time. Alex Baumhart over at the Oregon Capital Chronicle wrote about one utility watchdog in Oregon accusing PGE of trying to skirt the Power Act and have residential customers pay for at least part of the costs to power data centers. We caught up with Alex today.
PGE has submitted a plan that includes basically charging those utilities for the first 3 years of what is normally a 50-year payment schedule on massive infrastructure investments. So PGE will typically invest in infrastructure, pay it back over 50 years, and they usually go back to the Public Utilities Commission to ask for permission to raise rates in order to pay back that investment. What they are saying is, we'll have data centers pay for the first 3 years because they drove the overall growth in the system. But then after that, it's going to go into our historic modeling, which is everybody pays not proportional to how much they push growth on the system as a whole, but how much they drive peak growth. And that is growth on the hot days when you put on your air conditioner and 1,000 people around you do too. The company says we build infrastructure not just to support new users, but we have to be able to support everybody at peak demand. So even though it's data centers driving growth, because their growth on top of our necessities in peak moments means the grid needs more, they're going to charge all of us. Which, of course, Bob Jenks of the Citizens Utility Board says that's simply not fair. Do the simple thing, charge data centers for the data center infrastructure. If you can prove down the line that that infrastructure no longer mostly serves data centers, then you can come back and get money from everybody else.
PGE customers have certainly been feeling the pinch lately. The utility has raised residential rates 50% over the last 5 years, according to Baumhart, and there is certainly no appetite for more rate increases. Whether or not this plan from PGE is approved comes down to the Public Utilities Commission, which is expected to make a decision in April. Okay, we sent this story to one of the architects of the Power Act, Democratic Representative Pam Marsh of Southern Oregon. And she told us, quote, "I don't believe that PGE's plan meets the intent of the law. The Power Act requires that data centers pay their own way, not that they get a reduced subsidy. I'll be watching to see that the PUC holds the company accountable for implementing the law as we proposed." Now, one question that came to our minds: why would PGE go out of its way to ease costs on big tech companies?
The place I come to is if I'm one of those electric utilities, they are an extraordinarily lucrative new customer. And the worst case scenario is that they start providing their own power to themselves and they no longer need a PGE or a Pacific Power. So you're trying to make it, or rather it appears the company wants to make it as lucrative as possible to keep that really nice customer that's bringing in a lot of new money.
Well, if you'd like to read more of Alex's story, she has great stats on data centers and their power usage in Oregon. You can find it right now on OregonCapitalChronicle.com.